Retro Quester is Syrian Spirit, your go-to retro gamer with an epic passion for epic quests. Welcome to Evergreen Quest, where we're ranking every Final Fantasy RPG, from the NES Final Fantasy 1 to PS5 7 Rebirth. From turn-based classic to action-packed epic, we'll explore their story, combat, and why they're timeless, like Zelda's Legacy. Is 7 still king? Comment what's your fave Final Fantasy. Let's dive into this crystal charged adventure. Let's start in 1987 with Final Fantasy 1 on the NES, the RPG that kicked it all off. You control 4 warriors of light, saving the world from chaos, exploring dungeons like the Chaos Shrine with simple turn-based combat. Choose your party: warrior, thief, black mage, white mage, and grind through enemies to level up using MP for magic. It's barebone but charming, with a fantasy world of crystal and airship. The game pioneered the console RPG, introducing turn-based battle, leveling, and magic system inspiring Dragon Quest and every Final Fantasy thereafter. Its basic story and grind-heavy gameplay feel dated, but for 1987 it's a legend for Retro Questers. The lack of deep narrative keeps it simpler, but its root of Final Fantasy's epic legacy. This is why I give Final Fantasy 1 a 7 out of 10. Next is Final Fantasy 2 in 1988 on the NES, where Pyrions and friends fight the Palamecian Empire. This one's darker, with main character and emotional moments like Minwu's sacrifice, giving it the story-driven edge over Final Fantasy 1. Combat is turn-based, but the leveling system is wild. Stat grows by use, so attacking boosts strength. No traditional level, it's very grindy, but it introduced a party member and deeper lore. The story is ambitious for NES, but that stat system can frustrate, needing constant grind to progress. It's a bold step for Retro Questers. The narrative hints at drama, but it's not quite there. This is why I would give Final Fantasy 2 a 6 out of 10. Final Fantasy 3 in 1990 on the NES bring 4 orphans wielding crystal power to stop Xande. Turn-based combat shine with a job system, switch between monk, black mage, or dragoon for flexible roles. Explore dungeons and soar in airship with a whimsical tone. That's pure NES charm. It introduced jobs staple in 5 and tactics and summon spell like Bahamut. The job systems are black, so but it's repetitive and grinding, and thin story hold it back for narrative fans like me. It's more engaging than 2 with a retro appeal for your questers, but it's not as epic as the later title. This is why I would give Final Fantasy 3 a 7.5 out of 10. We're getting to the Super Nintendo. Final Fantasy 4 in 1991 on the SNES is where things get epic. It's still a dark night, seek redemption in a tale of betrayal and love, with characters like Kain, Rosa stealing the show. The active time battle system adds real-time tension to turn-based combat, and SNES graphic bring cinematic flair, like Tella's tragic sacrifice. Introduce ATB and fix character role, setting the stage for modern RPGs. The story has emotional depth, and ATB feels fresh, making it a retro gem for Final Fantasy fan like me. Grinding's lighter than 3, but it's not as iconic as 7. This is why I give Final Fantasy 4 a 8.5 out of 10. Final Fantasy 4 the year after in 2008 on WiiWare jumps 17 years after 4. Theodore, Cecil's son, leads a new story with returning characters, using ATB combat and moon phases that tweaks ability. Its SNES style graphics are nostalgic, but the episodic plot feels fragmented. Moon phases adds strategy, and it's the first direct Final Fantasy sequel. Expanding 4's lore, for Retro Questers it's a love letter to 4, but recycle mechanic and uneven pacing don't match Final Fantasy 4. It's fun but not essential. This is why I give Final Fantasy 4 the year after a 6.5 out of 10. Final Fantasy 5 in 1992 on the SNES followed Bart testing Crystal in a light-hearted quest, The enhanced job system lets you mix ability, like a ninja with Weiss Mage spell, paired with the ATV combat and vibrant SNES visual. It's a refined job system from Final Fantasy III, adding customization that inspired Tactic and Bravely Default, and introduced summons like Ifrit. The job system is a joy, but the lighter story lacks some emotional depth. Retro questers will love its flexibility, though it's less iconic than Final Fantasy VII. This is why I give Final Fantasy V an 8 out of 10. Final Fantasy VI in 1994 on the SNES is a masterpiece. Terra, Locke, and a huge cast fight Kefka in a steampunk world with ATV combat and espers for customizable magic. The opera scene in a non-linear world Ruin are iconic. With the SNES peak graphic, it introduced Ensemble cast, espers, and Kefka's nihilistic villainy, setting a high bar. The story's depth rival other Final Fantasies. It's a retro charm hook band. Though a complex system can overwhelm, this is why I give Final Fantasy VI a 9 out of 10. Ooh, Final Fantasy VII in 1997 on the PS1 changed gaming. Cloud Strife battles Sephiroth to save the planet, with ATV combat and the material system for customizable abilities. Cinematic FMVs and 3D visual in Aerith's tragic fate made it a legend. Introduced materia in PlayStation 3D era, boosting Final Fantasy's global fame. Its eco-fantasy story and character resonates, perfect for your questers and RPG fans. It's near perfect, just shy of modern polish. This is why I give Final Fantasy VII a 9.5 out of 10. Final Fantasy VII Remake in 2020 on the PS4 rematch in 7's Midgar. Action-based combat blends real-time attack and with ATB command. With stunning visual and expanded story for Cloud, Tifa, and Barret, it introduced action RPG combat and deeper Midgar lore, kicking off the trilogy with tweaked timeline. The action's thrilling, but the story is incomplete. Midgar only, holding it back slightly. It's a modern hit for your Clair Obscur fan, though not as iconic as the original. This is why I give Final Fantasy VII a 9 out of 10. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth in 2024 on the PS5 take us beyond Midgard. Open world zone and refined action ATV combat shine, with synergy move like Cloud Aerith combo adding flair. The multiverse narrative and deeper character arc are gorgeous but complex. It introduced open world design and synergy attacks, expanding 7's world with PS5 visual. It's expensive, but the story's complexity may confuse newcomers. It's perfect for your AAA game fans. It's modern and epic. This is why I give Final Fantasy VII Rebirth a 9 out of 10. Final Fantasy VIII in 1999 on the PS1 follow Squall fighting Sorceress Idea in a romantic time loop tale. The junction system ties stats to magic, paired with ATB and the triple triad card game. It introduced junction, realistic design, and romance with triple triad Stinging Hearts. The story is emotional, but Junction's complexity is quite grindy. It's still a classic, but it's less accessible than 7. This is why I give Final Fantasy VIII a 7.5 out of 10. Final Fantasy IX in 2000 on the PS1 is a love letter to classic Final Fantasy. Zane's Thief Crew adventures in a medieval world with ATV combat and fixed role like Vivi's as a black mage. The ability system learn skills from gear and Tetramaster adds depth. It's a return to Final Fantasy roots with charming visual. The story is heartwarming, but less iconic than 7. Perfect for retro gamers. It's a gem. This is why I give Final Fantasy IX an 8.5 out of 10. Final Fantasy X in 2001 on the PS2 follows Tidus and Yuna battling Sin and Spira. The conditional turn-based battle system swaps party member mid-fight and with Sphere grid customization. Voice acting and PS2 visual shine. With a romantic story, it introduced CTV, voice acting and linear design, a big PS2 leap. The story is emotional but linear, pacing may feel tight. This is why I give Final Fantasy X an 8.5 out of 10. Final Fantasy X2 or X2 in 2003 on the PS2 stars Yuna in a pop star adventure post-X. Fast-paced ATB with Dress Sphere lets you swap jobs like Singer or Gunner. Non-linear missions and a light-hearted tone refresh Sphere. It introduced Dress Sphere and a female-led cast. The first direct sequel. The vibes are quirky but the tone's divisive. Fun for puzzle fans. It's less epic than X. This is why I give Final Fantasy X2 a 7 out of 10. Final Fantasy XI 2002 on the PS2 and PC is the first Final Fantasy MMO. Set in Vanadiel, group-based quest and turn-based combat focused on jobs, with story-driven expansion like Chains of Promethea. It introduced MMO's gameplay in a persistent world, but the grind's heavy. Story's deep for MMO fans, but less solo-friendly. Optional for retro quester, but it's niche. This is why I give Final Fantasy XI a 6 out of 10. Final Fantasy XII in 2006 on the PS2 follows Van in a Ivalice political war. Active dimension battle blends real-time and turn-based combat. With a Gambit system for AI party control, open-world exploration feels free. It introduced Gambit and seamless battle. A bold shift. The story is political, it holds survival stake, but the Gambit can feel complex. A retro hit for retro gamers. This is why I give Final Fantasy XII an 8 out of 10. Final Fantasy XIII in 2009 on the PS3 stars Lightning as LSC and Cocoon. Paradigm shift combat swap role like attacker and medic, with lots of cinematic visual. The linear story is divisive but gorgeous. Look like an action movie. Introduce paradigms and PS3 era graphics. A tech leap. Action's fast but linear path limits freedom. Still a modern hit for your subs. This is why I give Final Fantasy XIII a 7 out of 10. Final Fantasy XIII 2 in 2011 on the PS3 follows Sarah and Noel fixing time paradoxes. Paradigm shift combat adds monster taming with non-linear exploration and time travel. It introduced monster ally and open arena, improving 13's flow. Exploration is fun, but the story is less epic. Action suits more Final Fantasy fans, making it relatable. This is why I give Final Fantasy XIII 2 a 7.5 out of 10. Final Fantasy XIII Lightning returns in 2013 on the PS3 as Lightning saving the world in 13 days. Action-based combat with schemata, custom roles, and open world exploration add urgency. It introduces real-time combat and time mechanics. A bold shift, the action is intense, but the time pressure can annoy, unlike Final Fantasy XIII 2, the chiller vibe. A modern pick for your quester. This is why I give Final Fantasy XIII Lightning Return a 7.5 out of 10. In the forest. Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn in 2013 on PS3 and PC reboots the MMO with a story-driven Eorzea campaign. Turn-based ATB hybrid combat and job shine with a single-player quest like Shadowbringer. Introduce a narrative-heavy MMO, viable solo. The story is epic, but MMOs grind tough if you want to level more than one job. Right now it's one of the best MMORPG out there, so this is why I would give Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn a 9 out of 10. Final Fantasy 15 in 2016 on the PS4 followed Noctis' bro road trip to reclaim his throne. Action-based combat and open-world exploration are seamless. With stunning visual, it introduced full action combat in a persistent world. A huge leap. The open world feels it's great, but the story's ending divides fans. A modern hit for JRPG fans. It's epic. This is why I give Final Fantasy 15 a 8.5 out of 10. Final Fantasy 16 in 2023 on the PS5 is the series' boldest shift to action, following Clive Rossfield in a dark medieval-inspired Valistea where Ekons, massive summoning like beings, and their dominant wield godlike powers. The story is a mature tale of slavery, betrayal, and liberation. Combat is real-time action-heavy, Exploration include the open zone and side quests that flesh out lore. The narrative has emotional depth, but its maturity and spectacle make it a modern standout. Though the linear structure may feel restrictive compared to Breath of the Wild freedom, this is why I give Final Fantasy 16 a 9 out of 10. That's every Final Fantasy RPG ranked from NES to PS5. 7's 9.5 leads, but 6 and Remake shine too. Retro question, what's your favorite top Final Fantasy? Agree with my 7 score? Comment below, subscribe for more evergreen quests and retro adventure. Thank you!